Yo, this is Selric back with another live stream of Master Duel. So, I had a busy couple days. These past couple days were pretty busy for me, and I did get to play some games. However, I'll be honest, I'm on a long losing streak, about 7 game losing streak. I was just losing. And I did notice some things about my deck, and it was the things I already knew. Like, I know my weaknesses, and it wasn't even about my weaknesses. I lost some games due to time because the games were just very grindy, and when I figured out some people's strategy or what they were doing, it was already too late. So I lost games due to that. At least 3 of them. The other 4 games I just lost because I just got outplayed. But it is what it is. I'm not gonna make no excuses. But when I'm losing, I try to figure out ways I can use it, figure out things I can do to tweak my deck. So I'm gonna look at some tech cards that I was using in the past, and they were actually good, for my deck. So I may change it a little bit. I'm going to keep the same strategy to a point, but I'm definitely going to change some things. Because, like before, I said I was going to probably take out a lost win, maybe take out 1 chain hole. I may do that because I can put some other tech cards in. Maybe I can put in 2 more monsters to give me more first turn starters that I need for my deck to make it run. I was thinking about running evenly match as well, just to give me some going second power, because I noticed that too. I don't really have any going second power other than when I'm using my furniture cards. I can send, if I have a Diabella Star in my hand, I can send her with my furniture cards, and she will come back, and I can have her on my turn 2 after my opponent went turn 1. But that, and I'd say Wannabe is probably my only plays I have for turn 2. I don't really have anything else. Or no, that's turn 0, I would say. Turn 2 is mostly Eldritch. He works for turn 2. I'd say maybe I can consider Mana Dragon Zernatron. I can set my cards and let them destroy it. But it's a bait. So I can't just rely on people to destroy my stuff. So I am thinking about putting in evenly match. Possibly just 2 will be enough. Needlebug Nest, I could take that out. And that's a good card too. Needlebug Nest is definitely a good card. But it's not a card. It's not a turn, like a turn starter. It's not a card that I can use first turn and benefit off of it. So there's a couple cards I had in mind. So I have my bookmark, and was thinking about putting in King Backjack, trying him out. So King Backjack, he's a card that says during your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from the graveyard, activate the top card of your deck, and if it's a normal trap card, set it to your field. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. The set card can be activated during that turn. If the card is sent to the graveyard, you can look at the top three cards from your deck, then place them on the top of the deck in any order. So with King Backjack, you're supposed to just summon him, link him off for Linger Rebo, or you can discard him, one or the other. But it's better to link him off with Linger Rebo because you do it like that, and you will look at your top three cards. Then on your opponent's turn, you just set one, and when you do that, it keeps your opponent guessing too, because now they know you have that, and he can bait out some stuff too. So I always kept him as a bookmark. Basically, he's a solid card. You know, I was using Curie Bandit. Curie Bandit's not bad either. It's just that it takes up a normal summon, and then when you normal summon it, you tribute it, excavate the top five cards of your deck. You can add one of the excavated spell and trap cards from your graveyard to your hand, and send the rest to the graveyard. So it's good to just mill cards with Curie Bandit. So it's not a bad card either. Sort of say. Flower Dino's another niche card that I discovered. It comes out like Lady if you activate a trap card or effect, or your opponent activates a spell card or effect. You can special summon this card from your hand. Then, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 3 banished spell and trap cards, place them on the bottom of the appropriate decks in any order, then draw a card. So, with my deck, I always have a lot of spell and traps that's banished. So, I could possibly run Flower Dino because it's like a solid. It's 2,000 attack, which is not terrible, but it comes out for free if a trap card is activated or a spell card is activated by my opponent. And if I put him in the graveyard, I can get a draw by banishing targeting 3 of my banished spells and traps and place them on the bottom of my deck. So my One-Hit Seeker spoils, my rollbacks, my big welcomes, that can go back into my deck to draw a card. However, that requirement is very hefty, and that's really only good for a grinding game. And I don't want to give my opponent back anything, so that's why I used to use it, but I took it out because sometimes I would just have it as a monster, and it's a good monster to link off, but after that, it's just that's what it is. You want to get the full effect of it, and sometimes the games are over before that even happens. So unless you do your opponent's card, but I don't want to give my opponent back anything, like I said. So it's a tough card to use. I was using this guy. Now, Amazement Administrator is like a very annoying card. He's a fun card too, but very annoying. And he comes out when a trap card is activated, just like Lady. And when he comes out, you summon it. When your opponent normal summons a monster during a damage step, you can target one of those face-up monsters they control and equip one attraction trap from your deck to that target. So I could run Amazement, and when I did run him in the past, I would use this one. So the Amaze attraction trap cards, they're pretty much trap equip cards with their normal trap cards. You can equip them to the Amazement monsters, or you can equip it to your opponent. Now this one, you equip this to Amazement Administrator. You can target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects to the end of the turn. But when you have this equipped on Amazement, he has an effect monster negate every turn, which is really good. Very good. If you equip it with the opponent, you change that equipped monster to face down defense position. So the trap card will get destroyed. Then, after it's destroyed, you could use Amazement's effect. And I'll go back to that real quick before I go to the other trap cards. Eh, Oh, here it is. You can banish any number of attraction trap cards from your graveyard, then target that many cards your opponent controls, destroy them. So if you have two in the graveyard, three, you can banish all three to destroy three cards they control. That's why he's an annoying card. He's another card that people really want to get rid of when they see it. They don't want to have him on the field, and people get people really get scared of him. Honestly, Amazement Attraction. This is the card that pretty much search for him, which is pretty cool. But you have to equip it to your opponent. But when you equip it to an Amazement monster, target one spell and trap your opponent controls, send both it and this card to the graveyard. So this just gets rid of a spell and trap while it's equipped to Amazement. And then when it was effective, you can just pop another card. This one's a banish. Banish to equip that monster into the end phase. So it's like a little knight, basically, but you lose the equip card when you banish it. Change the equipped monster to its battle position. Then your opponent chooses one attraction trap in your graveyard and set it to your field. That's alright. It's not that great. It's okay. So I have options. Because I'm thinking about taking out one lost win. I'll take out one chain hole. I would take out two needlebug nests. I'll take them out. Because I really don't need them. It's just now I have a lot of one-ofs. I noticed that. And Trap Trick will really only be able to target the Rumor Cannon, Big Welcomes, Rollbacks, and any of the Paleozoics. That's it. Before I could target all of them. Lost Wind, Chain Hole. It's very tough because I want to make this deck consistent. So, because those games I played were they were rough. I won one game, lost 7 straight, then won again. So I didn't really make no progress in Diamond at all. So that's why I had to tweak it a little bit. I gotta do something to it. Either I can make my going second better by putting 3 evenlies in, or I could put 2 evenlies in and put Triple Tactics Thrust, which might help when I'm thinking about it. This Thrust will search any trap card I want, and I can set it, and I can search a grass. So I may do that. I could try that out because I have enough starters. I think I have enough cards that I can just start a combo with. So and my opponent, hand traps are very prevalent right now. So having thrusts may be ideal because of that. People are just throwing hand traps like it ain't nothing right now. And hand traps aren't the problem for me either. I'm not losing to hand traps. I'm really losing to time. And I'd say I'm losing because my turn 2 is not that great. My turn 1 is not that great either, but my turn 2 is not that great. But my turn 1 can be okay if I have thrust and my opponent tries to use a hand trap on me to stop me. Then I can search any disruption I want. I can get a trap trick, I can get a big welcome, anything. And I'd rather just get a trap trick, honestly. If my opponent is using any hand traps on my turn and I have thrust, I'll get a trap trick. If they on turn two, if they do anything, I'll get a grass is green, and that'll be another card I can use to set spell and trap cards. So I could try that out because I don't want to take one. I don't want to take out both my lost wins, and I want to keep at least one chain hole in. So if I run three thrusts, I can literally get any card, any one of my cards. Even I can even get D barrier or magic deflector with thrust, just so I have some type of disruption. You know, even I may take out Tears of the Overroot they put in three thrusts, so I can have three thrusts and two evenly matches, just to have better better defense when my opponent tries to interrupt things on my turn. That's definitely an option. Uh, Another tech card I was thinking about is a Phantom Knights card. So Phantom Knights, I used to use this card too. It's a very niche card. I only like it because the way it looked, to be honest. But it had a unique effect, and people don't really know about it like that, I think. And I have it foil. So Phantom Knights of Tomb Shield, you're only using this for the graveyard effect, right? So it says during your turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one face-up trap your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. So with this card, it's good. It's a good niche card because one, your opponent won't expect it, and two, if you go first, or if I'm going second, and I get that in the graveyard during my opponent's turn, going first with my furniture cards or Diabella Star, I will have a trap negate for my turn, or with any other turn that's that it was sent to the graveyard beforehand. So this card has actually won me a game before, where I remember that the player, they would have mirror forced me. Surprisingly, I had the game won, and they would have mirror forced me. And if I didn't have that in the graveyard, I would have lost. I would have burnt for damage and everything. It was that burning mirror force. I remember one game where I actually negated a regular mirror force with that and won the game. I remember one game where I actually negated a floodgate, a rival of the warlords, and won the game. And I just finished them off that way because that negates it for the turn. So it's a very niche card. Honestly, I think the card would be a rare if it just said during your turn. If it said during your turn, it can just negate an effect in the graveyard. But because it says accept the turn the card was sent to the graveyard, that's why it's normal. Honestly, because to me it's a cool looking card, and it's a niche card that can really catch someone off guard. And a lot of people are definitely running trap cards to summon things like me. They're running trap cards to do little tech stuff. They run in there. I lost to this Ashen deck in Diamond, and I wish I had this card during that game, because the guy kept fusing my monsters with his trap card, and me and him were going back and forth, but I couldn't keep up with him because he just kept on fusing them back and forth. and I was losing time also. So all that combined was just, it was a lot. It was definitely a lot. So if I would have had this card, I could have stopped him. That would have stalled him out for a turn, and I wouldn't have to waste my severe on something else. So this card is pretty niche, very niche, but it definitely is a cool looking card. Honestly, that's why I like it. But it has a nice effect. You negate a trap card, and it's a trap negate, all in all, and that would give me more disruption, specifically for trap cards, continuous trap cards specifically, because there are like a lot of floodgates out there. This card even kind of somewhat stops Labyrinth in a way that would catch them off guard. It can chain block as well. So I haven't played a Labyrinth player with that card yet, but I've definitely played against a burn deck, and the guy quit because I kept on recycling this card. I just kept it in the graveyard. So that's another card that I may use, but I'm still thinking about what I want to use. Do I have this as a bookmark? Now I do. I don't know why I never had it as a bookmark. This is a card that I may use, Chaos Hunter, because like I said before, Kashtira destroys my deck completely. There's nothing I can do against this. I mean, against Kashtira. Or I'll even say Ritual Beasts. I really can't do nothing against them either if they just start banishing my stuff. So when it comes down to it, Chaos Hunter is another okay card because you can use him on turn 0, and your opponent really can't do anything about it. Unless they destroy it. That's about it. They have to destroy it. But if they don't, well, now I just discard a card. You can't banish cards, and he's 2,500 attack, so that's pretty good. The only thing about him is that I would have to, if he's in the graveyard, I would have to run, I think, the Labyrinth field spell, because that will bring him back when I activate a trap card. That's probably the only way. If I have to discard him, I gotta discard him. But if my opponent gets rid of him, I want to bring him back. So I will need the Labyrinth field spell to keep bringing him back when I activate a trap card, just to keep him on the field and make it so my opponent just can't banish cards. So they can't. I'm gonna have to floodgate you. It is what it is. So I played this card one time and it didn't do that well. But I'm thinking about adding the Labyrinth field spell just for him. I don't really need it other than for this card. And I can combine it with Chaos Angel too. So he's like another card that I'm thinking about using. Because let's see, if I used him, yeah, I would have to use the Labyrinth field spell. And if I did that, I could probably keep in Needlebug Nest, because I would actually want him in the graveyard. It wouldn't matter at that point. But I still want to have Disruption. I was also thinking about taking out one of these, possibly. I really don't want to, because I want to have 2 in my deck, just so I can stop my opponent from doing stuff. I want to have that Omni negate. So even when these sampled hands look amazing. That's one thing I don't get all the time. Now this will be a horrible hand except for grass. But I would have this in next turn. I wouldn't have any disruption with this hand. Because I wouldn't be able to get this in the grave, which would suck. Hmm. 'Cause I need ways to mill stuff. I really do. And I only have that with Eldritch, Diabell Star, and the furniture cards. And I think I need more than that. Only thing I can think of, if I put in another Trap Tantalizing Tune, I could do that. And another monster. But that's if I take out Lost Wind, One Chain Hole, and Needlebug Nest. And those are all 2 of. So Trap Trick makes them a 3 of. Which is good and bad, I guess. Because I would definitely need to keep them in there. Hmm. It's tough. At one point, I was running my. I had a Dogmatica engine, which I could put back in. That gave me some more. It gave me more turn two power. For my opponent, they'll have to bait me, or I have to bait my opponent. So I could try that again. Actually, I may try that again. If I took out. But I think if I did that, I would have to run duality. I definitely should run duality if I did that. But I would definitely have to watch it because now I couldn't use my extra deck for the turn. Go to the end of the next turn, right? Hmm. And I ran this. And I took out one Torby. And I did it last time. But that would add another engine to my deck. Having the Dogmatic, the Labyrinth, Diabell Star. I can say that, but the Prism's not really an engine. Could run duality. If I ran duality, I need a level 8 spellcaster. And this will be a short stream too, because I'm actually going to probably play some games and test this out. I would play like this, but my game really acts slow on my laptop, and I am being fairly cheap. I just got to get a better computer so I can play this, or buy a PS5. And I'll actually be able to really stream on the system. It'll most likely be more crisp and clear and faster. And now I have to put in stuff from my Dogmatic engine. So I would keep the Azamina stuff in. Take out one of these. I'll keep typing in. I'll probably take out this. Take out that, take out that. I don't need them. But I played one game where a person was trying to get rid of my extra deck when I had my Dogmatica engine in, and they were just salty. It was pretty bad. I actually might play that game. Well, I don't have to play the game. It wasn't. It was more of a bad matchup for them because they used the Dogmatic Ritual Monster, and I guess they thought getting rid of my extra deck was going to hurt me, and it literally benefited me. So they just had to deal with it, and they couldn't really do anything about having like one of my effects activate. They made me send, I believe, 6 cards from my extra deck. I sent Garura. I don't have that witch. I need to get her. I sent 1 card that makes me draw a card and place one in the back in my deck. I sent the dragon that returns a card to the hand. So I just kept sending a bunch of utility to my graveyard, and they just had to deal with it, and they surrendered eventually. Hmm. But that's the thing. I wouldn't have used Dogmatica, but now when I'm thinking about it, it may not be a great idea because they will change my deck completely. And to an extent, I can use my extra deck. I don't need it, but I want to be able to use it. And I noticed when I did play this engine, I couldn't use my extra deck, and sometimes I really needed to use it at certain times. Like I want to have the option to use it whenever I want, but I don't need to use it, if that makes sense. I just want to have the option to be able to use it. And all these cards say you cannot summon out of the extra deck for the rest of the turn or to the end of your next turn. So that can literally mess me up when I need to do something. In a grinding game, when I can get my field started, I would want to be able to use my extra deck at my own will. So using cards that lock me out of it, it can mess me up. So I will take that out. I know I'm kind of going back and forth, but I have to think about this pretty thoroughly. So I took out one Torby anyway. I kept one of those out. I may put the second one back in just so I have the starters. Now I could put Supreme King in. That's what I could do. Because Supreme King is somewhat of a package. Or I could put in. Yeah, I could put Supreme King with Arius. Put two of those and Arius. And that would be interesting if I did that. Because Supreme King brings disruption. Yeah, I burn half my life. But he brings disruption. And he can bring some fusion monsters that could possibly, fusion and synchro monsters that could possibly help me out. And mixing him with the disruption I have wouldn't be bad. And if I have Diabells, you're not doing no. You're not going to be able to super poly me because that's what normally happens. People will super poly me and I'm just salty. So I could try that out. Use the Zark because that will give me a strong monster. Yeah, that would give me a strong monster. Definitely. And I could take out one of these. I'll take out this. Take out that. I don't need Masquerena. Hmm. Which one wouldn't I need? The card just spin summon. Yeah, take that out. That's why I didn't run this. So I realized that the reason why I didn't run that is because of this card. This card is an amazing floodgate. It will stop Yugioh in its tracks because it negates the activated effects of monsters with zero attack. That even means hand traps. So that stops Ash Blossom. I think it stops Ghost Bell. The only thing is that, well, it stops me too. So that would really literally mess me up with my Torby because he has zero attack. My Wannabe because she has zero attack. That's why I didn't do it. I noticed, or I didn't have them on the same in the same deck because that in the past I tried that and that messed me up. And I was wondering what was going on, and I didn't realize that I was negating myself. Hmm. And I don't know what else I could take out for their extra deck because I would want to have the spell and trap negate Synchro Dragon. Definitely. And I would want to have possibly. I want to use Pendulum Brave Eyes Pendulum Dragon because he's one of the best ones. Like when to me when you're using this package, the only good ones are this is the best one honestly. Clear Wing Synchro Dragon or Crystal Clear Wing Synchro Dragon is the best one you can summon in my opinion because it negates it's a spell and trap negate, which is very good, and it's 10 stars, so I could possibly summon Varudras with that. And it becomes unaffected by monster effects. So say a Baron, which has happened before, a person tried to what they did because Baron can really mess this thing up if they do it right. But if a Baron is going against this thing and Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon negates a spell and trap, Baron should not negate it. It's like you shouldn't use it. The Baron negate should not be used to negate Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Because if you do that, Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon has two quick effects, and they can happen in the same chain. So if I'm negating a spell and trap card, and you try to use Baron's effect to negate my effect, I can use my effect to be unaffected by your effect, and I'm going to gain attack equal to your attack. So Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon will gain 3,000 attack from Baron, your negate won't work, and I'm going to negate your spell and trap. Instead, Baron has to destroy it, has to target destroy it, let Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon use his effect, which it probably won't if the guy knows what it is. Because if he uses the effect, then Baron will just negate it. But it's like you can never, a monster can never respond to this card first. They should never do that. Unless you have a spell and, unless you have something to stop it, you're better off just using impermanence on this card, forcing out the negate, or at least forcing out the spell and trap negate. And then wait for the dragon to react to your things, and then it will gain the attack. And yeah, it might be unaffected by monster effects, but you can still destroy it with a spell or trap. Or you just gotta bait it out with another monster effect. So either way, when Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon gets on the field, it's very annoying to deal with. And I want to be very annoying as possible. That's why it's a very good card to have. And it's the best dragon you can use in the Supreme King Zark package, in my opinion. That can come out. Brave Eyes Pendulum Dragons are probably the second best because it negates all monsters with zero attack. It's pretty much like it's like the opposite of what's the opposite of Typhon. Typhon negates monsters with 3,000 or more attack. This negates monsters with zero attack. Meaning you can't activate them at all. In the hand, it doesn't matter. So having that on the field, your opponent cannot use. They will not be able to use any hand traps or any Yubel effects. If Yubel's not on the field, then they can't do anything. If Yubel is still in the deck, That's the best bet. But if you have Yubel in your hand, Yubel's in the graveyard, it's in the field. I believe it's in the graveyard. If it's in the, if it, no, if it's in the, if it's in your hand, then you're pretty much screwed at some point. Because you might be able to summon the Phantom of Yubel, but it can't use any. It can't use any of its effects. So the best way to do it is you have to have it on the field first, I think, and then it has its own floodgate where you take battle damage and it doesn't die by battle. But that's the only way you can really survive against this. But it can still screw you over too. That's why I'm on the fence about it. But I mean, I don't have to run it though. That's the thing. I don't have to run them, but I want to run them. It's like, why wouldn't I run that card? Starving Venom Dragon, to me, he's not good in this package because you're not going to get the full effect off unless he's fusion summoned. But you can target one level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls into the end phase. This card's name becomes that monster's original name and replaces effect with this monster's original effect. So he can distill effects, which is pretty good. It's not bad, but your opponent will get rid of it. When they see this on the field, they will get rid of that card. They're not going to let it stay. I doubt it. But I could still try it out. I could still use it without using Brave Eyes Pendulum Dragon. And I would probably take out... I may take out... I don't want to take this out. Well, yeah, I'll just take this out. Yeah. This will give me more of the engine now if I use this like that. And Arius makes it so I can just literally I can just activate a trap card on the same turn, which is pretty nice. And I could just run one of these too. Cause I have Arius, doesn't really matter. I could just run one. It's just if I run one, that's it. If it gets negated, it gets negated. That's the only thing. Because if I run one, thinking I may need Needle Bug Nest. I may need that. Yeah, I could run one just to put that, just to have it in there. I could just run one. I may not need to. I'm only saying that so I can put more. I can put needle bug nesting because I think I still need to be able to mill, at least mill something. You know what? I'll test it out. And that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna test out some games, and I'm gonna head off while I test out these games. I may be back, but if not, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.